Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Keylin here, and today we'll be discussing how to complete a book in a week or a very short period of time. So the reason I'm putting this video together is because I'm one of those people who does not write every day. So I actually pick a designated amount of time and get tons of work done in that specific period. So I thought I could share my methods for how to get a book done in a very short period of time. Although my short periods of time are normally spread out, it is possible to write a book in a week. So this video is going to help you set expectations for yourself and give you some tips in terms of how to get that done. And I'm going to be showing you 2 different calendars, each with a schedule, and I will link the documents below. Each with a schedule on how to complete a book with a full-time job in a week and then without a full-time job in the week. Obviously, the one with the full-time job in the week is going to be a lot more intensive. So if you can take any time off, if you have a job, that would be, ideal for getting the book done. Alrighty, so jumping right into it. When writing a book in a short period of time, before I get into the 5 tips, the first thing that you have to do is set expectations. If you want to write a book in a week, let's use a week. A week is totally possible to write a book. It takes about 1,000 words per hour. If you're a little bit slower, maybe it's 500, a little bit faster, maybe it's 1,200, but you can do it. So one of the things that you have to do though at the beginning is set expectations, because you're not gonna have a fully polished book by the end of a week. I'm a firm believer that the amount of time you spend on something is not indicative of quality. So just get that out of your heads right now that if you write a book in a week, it's going to be terrible or it's going to be great. The time period does not correlate to quality. Just my personal opinion. All right, so I've got 5 kind of categories of tips to help you write your book in a week. And we'll start off, they kind of go in chronological order. So we'll start off with the first one, which is being prepared. And I'm sorry if I glance this way, it's because I've got my laptop with notes because I am prepared for this video. So be prepared. Don't spend the short amount of time you have for writing this book in preparing what you're going to write about. So beforehand, whether you're a plotter or a pantser, so whether you're somebody who has to outline everything or somebody who flies by the seat of their pants, know what you're writing about and go into it with an idea, with specific plot points. They don't necessarily have to be a thorough outline if you're a pantser, and if you're a plotter, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to go into this pantsing, but you need to go into it with an idea so that you're not spending the precious amount of time you have prepping your idea. Continuing on in the first tip of be prepared, let friends and family know that you're unavailable. Block time off in your calendar. Tell them that I'm not hanging out for this week. And that will be extremely helpful in setting expectations with them. The next tip I have, all falling into this be prepared category, is meal prep. So you spend so much time coordinating meals, take some time to prepare your food, or if you know you're going to be working at a cafe, then ensure you have money to buy your food, but that becomes quite expensive if you're spending an entire week buying 3 meals a day. So be prepared. Meal prep. All right, moving on to kind of tip category number 2 is move. This is actually the biggest point that has worked for me, is getting out of my space where I can just, move from my desk to my bed and end up watching Netflix. So actually physically putting yourself in a location where it's isolated from people who are going to come and say, hey Keylin, I need help with this, or hey Keylin, want to hang out. So it's isolated from that, and it's a space where you find yourself more productive. For me, it's personally coffee shops or public spaces like libraries where there's other people working, and it's just I don't know, you can feel the creative juices flowing. So I like those areas. So that is where I generally tend to go. One of the things that I guess safety disclaimer on this point, let somebody know where you're going, because you don't want to just disappear and then nobody knows where you are and you're gone for the entire day. It might incite some panic. So let somebody know where you're going. But because you are trying to isolate yourself and get work done, don't tell the world. Moving on to number 3, this is a really simple category, but have your tools ready. Make sure you have your computer, your charger, whatever tool you're using on your computer. So Scrivener, Word, Google Docs. Make sure you have everything prepped before this week starts and you're ready to go. I personally like to pack a bag. So I've already got my laptop in it, I've already got my charger in it. Then I can just add the meals that I've prepped. I keep them in the freezer and go on my, I said them in a previous video, but I call them writing retreats. I think I put it in my author newbie tag video, so I'll tag that video down below, or not tag, link the video down below, and you can have a look at that. But that's where I talk a little bit about my writing retreats. So I'll have my bag packed, go on my retreat, I'll move out of my space and get ready to write for the entire day. Tip category number 4. So this category is get ready to work. What that means is mentally prepare yourself. If you have a stressful job, make sure that before this week you are prepping everything so that you're prepared to take leave and you're not stressing about that. Make sure things in your personal life are sorted. That's why the being prepared and telling your friends and family and all that and blocking your calendar is so important when pursuing writing a book in such a short period of time. All part of the get ready to work as well is get ready to take breaks. So schedule your breaks in your calendar. Like I mentioned earlier, I will be showing a pre-prepared calendar for how to write a book in a week at the end of this video, so make sure that you check it out, but schedule in your breaks. All right, and then finally, we get down to number 5 is when you actually have to execute. So 1 to 4 is planning, and good planning makes for good execution. So getting to category number 5 is actually doing the writing. I've got a few tips within this like category 5 tip. The first is write, don't edit. You're here to write your book, not edit your book. So make sure that you are acknowledging that or checking in with yourself to make sure that you're not editing throughout the writing process. Some people can do it, but if you're trying to accomplish writing a book in such a short amount of time, such as a week, just write, don't edit. Second kind of writing tip is if a scene is holding you up, just put in a placeholder, short description of the scene, and move on. Just keep going, because if you are at a point where you're losing momentum, you don't want that to happen, and that's actually probably just going to have a ripple effect throughout the rest of the day. You get stuck, you might end up back in this editing loop because maybe you're trying to write a scene and realize something you've written earlier on doesn't work. Placeholder, move on. Finally, just remember that in this short amount of time you're trying to write a book, your goal is simply to get the words on the page. It's to write the book. There is so much stuff that comes after, and there is the stuff that's come before that we talked about earlier, but right now focus on solely that. So those are my 5 kind of tip categories for getting a book done in 1 week. I will link to my author newbie tag video below, and now we'll get into the calendar. Okay, so as promised everyone, here are the 2 schedules that I put together, and I'm sorry that was just me moving my chair, but also I apologize if you hear a crackling sound. It's my computer, the fan's broken, really annoying. So the first one contemplates a work week. So this looks at completing 44,500 words in 1 week, including a 8-hour workday. Now, you'll notice that I didn't put lunches in because I just figured it's all part of work. And although I know some people write at lunch, it might just be a good break to take that lunch and not do writing since there's already so much writing elsewhere in the schedule. So as you can see, all of the days are pretty standard. It's up at 6 a.m., write 500 words for the first hour. So from 6 to 7, you would write 500 words. And in that time, you know, you're waking up, so you're probably not going to get to a full 1,000. And I personally need to like read back a little bit so I know where I am from the day before. So just 500 words to, you know, get started. I read in, oh my gosh, what book was it in? It was either in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. I don't want to swear on here because my mom might watch this. Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, or How to Be a Badass. And it said that, oh, well, I wish I could remember what book it was in, but I can't. So essentially it said that, you know, you set your life goals and then there's all these mini goals and you should accomplish 3 things before 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. I think it was, or 10 a.m. Oh my gosh, no, it wasn't in any of those books. It was in my passion planner. It was like before 9 a.m. you should accomplish 3 things that are towards your goals. So because writing is one of the goals and completing a novel in a week, we want to make sure that we do that before we end up going to work. So 500 words, Then transit home, an hour to do that, an hour for dinner. This is why meal prepping is so important, because you cannot make dinner or order dinner or go out and get dinner or whatever it is and eat it in an hour. So meal prep, I guess ordering works though, but meal prepping is the more healthy and economical option. And then from 7 till 11, it's writing. I've put in about 1,000 words an hour, and then, 11 to 6 a.m. the next day, it's sleep. So every single day during the work week is like that. It's fairly simple. The problem is that you've worked 8 hours a day and now you're going home to write 4 more hours. So eventually you're working 12 hours a day. I generally don't follow this schedule. Occasionally I do if I'm on a deadline or if I am, writing my fan fiction or really into the flow of things. I've done this before for fan fiction, and I've done it when I was trying to finish my novel, except my evenings were a little bit later. I think I was doing 2 hours. So I ended up finishing around 30,000, 35,000 words in that particular week. But this is totally possible. It's just you have to be dedicated. The weekend of this week is what I generally do follow when I'm doing my writing retreat. So I get up fairly early, I go to breakfast, transit, I'll go to the Starbucks by my house, and then I'll spend the first half of the morning writing in a coffee shop because the library is not open that early on the weekends. Generally get about 5,000 words done by lunch. I take a lunch break. It's around 2 hours because I'll go to the gym in between. And I think that's really important, is that during your breaks, do some sort of activity. And then I'll go to the library, which is my favorite place to write in the afternoon, and get that done, go for dinner, and then come home and write a little bit more. So I actually do, when I do my writing retreats on the weekend, I normally do a little bit more than 11,000 words, actually. I would say I can get 15,000 words out per day if I'm dedicating to this schedule. So it sounds like I've written a ton of words and my book is super long. It's really not. It's just that I keep rewriting sections, and I do find that this weekend schedule works well for me. And this is working with a full-time job, so the only days that you really have to tell folks you're not available is the Saturday and the Sunday, because you're already not available all the other days, so it works perfectly. All right, so this one is if you have the week off, and I highly recommend, if you're trying to write a full novel in a week, to take the week off to do it. Like I said, I mostly do my writing retreats on weekends, so the days, although I've done days like this where I schedule my writing, I generally focus on doing weekends like this. So you can write a novel in a week, or you can say I'm going to do 1 or 2 weekends per month and schedule them like this, and then you'll have your novel done in a month or 2, but you're still writing in a very short amount of time. If you're really aiming to have your novel done in a week, I would suggest doing it this way, which is taking the week to write your book. So whether if you're working for full time, it would be, taking the week off to do that. If you're working part-time, taking some time off, or if you're not working or a student, it would be on like your reading week or during the summer when you're not in school. So this is when you're fully dedicating yourself to writing your novel. And the way I would go about doing it, I've done it in smaller portions, so like day 1 to 4, but I just put this together to give everybody a preview of what could be accomplished in a week. Really, it's fairly simple, and you can read everything on here. There's breakfast, then you write for 4 hours, lunch and activity, so 3 hours off, and then write for 4 more hours, and then transit. If you went somewhere to do this, I personally recommend, like earlier, one of my biggest tips was to move, get out of your comfort zone, go somewhere that you will enjoy, somewhere new, somewhere isolated from people who will be bothering you, transit, dinner, and then rest. So you have kind of a shorter day and then a longer day, and that just repeats throughout the week. You can actually do this on the weekend as well. I prefer doing that on the weekend. I generally take Saturday as my shorter day and Sunday as my longer day, but I would recommend, if you're looking at accomplishing writing a book in a week, you should do 4 short days, and 3 long days. And I mean, they're still all long days. You're still writing a huge amount of words in that time, like 8,000, 10,000 words, but it's just fewer hours and more time for breaks in between. You want to be replenishing that creative well. You don't want to drown yourself out by writing. You don't want to get to day 3 and be so burnt out that you've written 30,000 words, 40,000 words by day 3, but you're so burnt out. So that's why you want to, strategically place longer breaks. So 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours in between, so that you can, go out and do an activity, have a nice lunch, and replenish that well. And with the schedule, you'd hit around 65,000 words in 1 week. So those are the 2 schedules I've put together. I will link them below in the video. Yeah, fairly simple. So like I said, I actually do a hybrid of these. So I will do my Saturdays, Sundays, like the Monday, Tuesdays here. And if I ever have an extended period of time off, then I will kind of pursue a schedule that's more aligned with this one. I did that a lot in university. I was more flexible and able to do that in university. I would easily, when I was writing FanFiction, accomplish 50,000, 60,000 words a week when I had time off. So it is possible. But like I said previously, this portion is about writing. Then you have, your editing and your betas and your critique partners and all of that needs to come after. So this is just getting the first words on the page, the first draft done. So I had mentioned I have a really exciting announcement, and it is that every Thursday, and make sure to follow me on Twitter because I will be announcing if we ever skip a Thursday, I will be hosting a YouTube live session, and I hope everybody can come. It is going to be called Spirits and Stories. The way Spirits and Stories works is that we will have a different cocktail we're sampling every week, and then we will do writing exercises, talk about stories. It will all be live. Can't wait to hear your opinions. I'm not sure there'll be any people here this Thursday. I hope there will be, so I'm looking at you, YouTube. Join me live Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. Very excited to get to interact with some of you guys live and hopefully answer any of your questions, and we can do some word sprints together. Also looking for people to co-host. If anybody's interested, let me know. Just comment below and that would be awesome. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Click on that notification button so you get notifications. Yeah, click on that notification button so you get notifications every time a new video comes out. And I can't wait till Thursday. See you then.